Greetings, all my Patreon subscribers. Welcome to the fourth segment exploring John Gill's commentary on the rise of Antichrist and the changing of Caesarean Rome to Papal Rome. We'll be starting with Daniel chapter 7, verse 23. Gill writes, "Thus he said, the person that stood by, the angel of whom Daniel made his inquiries, and who answered him as follows. The fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom on earth, which shows that the angel, by 4 kings, meant 4 kingdoms that should successively arise in the earth and out of it, one after another. And this kingdom is not the kingdom of the Seleucidae, nor the Turkish, but the Roman Empire. For this is to continue until the kingdom of Christ takes place." So here Gill is confirming that the fourth and final kingdom is the kingdom of Antichrist, built on the foundations of the Roman Empire. Gill goes on to say, "which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, from the kingdoms and monarchies that were before it, particularly as a kingdom in its form of government, both when pagan and when papal." Here Gill once again presents the idea that pagan and papal Rome are really aspects of the same fourth kingdom. He goes on to say, "and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it into pieces, not the whole land of Judea only, as some read and interpret it, but the whole world, which the Romans became masters of." And the phrases used denote the destruction and desolation they made, wherever they carried their arms, and the cruelty and tyranny they exercised, and the vast profusion of blood made by them, both among the heathens they subdued, and the Christians they persecuted. Now this is true, both of Caesarean Rome and Papal Rome. History bears that out. Let's move into verse 24. This is really the meat and potatoes of this study. "And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise." Here Gill refers to the 10 horns out of the Roman Empire. They arise from within the Roman Empire, are in fact an aspect of the Roman Empire. He then says, "or 10 kingdoms which sprung out of the Roman Empire, or into which it was broken and divided upon the dissolution of it, about AD 476, which according to Mr. Mead were thus divided, AD 456. Mr. Mead was a Bible commentator that Gill often referenced. Gill then says, Mr. Mead divided the kingdoms, the 10 kingdoms that arose, into the following. 1. The Britons. 2. Saxons. 3. Franks. 4. Burgundians. 5. Visigoths. 6. Suevians and Iraneaus. 7. Vandals. 8. Alemanni. 9. Ostrogoths. 10. Greeks. Gill then provides a more detailed list by Bishop Lloyd. Bishop Lloyd was another Bible commentator and interpreter of the book of Daniel, and Bishop Lloyd wrote, according to John Gill, the 10 kingdoms were as follows. 1. Huns, who erected their kingdom in that part of Pannonia and Dacia, which was from them called Hungary, about AD 356. Number 2. Ostrogoths, who settled themselves in the countries that reach from Raetia to Mysia, even unto Thrace, about the year 377, and afterward came into Italy under Alaricus in the year 410. Number 3. Visigoths, who settled in the southern parts of France and in Catalonia, about 378 AD. Number 4. Franks, who seized upon part of Germany and Gaul in 410 AD. Number 5. Vandals, who settled in Spain, afterwards set up their kingdom in Africa, around 407 AD. Their king, Genserichus, sacked Rome in 455. Number 6. Suevians and Alans, who seized the western parts of Spain, AD 407, and invaded Italy in 457. Number 7. Burgundians who came out of Germany into that part of Gaul, called from them Burgundy, in 407. Number 8. Herules, Rugians, and Thuringians, who settled in Italy under Odoacer, about AD 476. Number 9. Saxons, who made themselves masters of Great Britain about the same time, 476 AD. And number 10. Longobards, called likewise Gopidiae, who settled in Germany about Magdeburg, AD 383, and afterwards succeeded in the Heruli and Thuringi in Hungary, about the year 826. And thus Gill gives Bishop Lloyd's list of the 10 kingdoms that emerged from the Roman Empire. Gill then quotes Sir Isaac Newton. He says, Sir Isaac Newton reckons the 10 kingdoms in the following order. 1. The kingdom of the Vandals and the Alans in Spain and Africa. Number 2. Of the Suevians in Spain. Number 3. Of the Visigoths. Number 4. Of the Alans in Gallia. Of the Burgundians. Number 5. Of the Burgundians. Number 6. Of the Franks. Number 7. Of the Britons. Number 8. Of the Huns. And number 9. Of the Lombards. And number 10. Of Ravenna. And that's Isaac Newton's list. I believe the reason that Gill shows us these 3 different views of what the 10 kingdoms were is to demonstrate that there was no dispute whether or not 10 kingdoms emerged from the Roman Empire as it crumbled. The dispute may perhaps have been over the very specifics of who and what. Yet there is enough commonality amongst these accounts to lend considerable credence to this interpretation. Gill goes on to say of Sir Isaac Newton's 10 kingdoms, who gives an account of the various kings of these kingdoms, and these, as the same learned writer says, whatever was their number afterward, they are still called the 10 kings from their first number. And though they have not always been in the same form and order, yet they have been generally about, if not exactly, the same number, as they are now near the same, and may be thus reckoned as the kingdoms of France, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Great Britain, Sardinia, Denmark, the 2 Sicilies, Swedenland, Prussia, and Poland. So this was Isaac Newton's take on these 10 kingdoms and what they eventually became. Gill then says, and another shall rise after thee, not Titus Vespasian, as Geraci and Sadai say, nor the nations of Gog and Magog, as Jaciatus says, but the Pope of Rome, or Antichrist, who came to his power as universal bishop and as a horn or temporal prince, after the above kingdoms rose, not after they were at an end, but after they were constituted and established, as it was proper they should first be, since they were to give their strength, power, and kingdom to the anti-Christian beast, by which it became a horn or temporal prince. The Septuagint renders it behind them, which Mr. Meade interprets of the springing up unawares, imperceptibly, unnoticed, and unobserved by them, till he overstopped them. Gill then writes, and he shall be diverse from the first 10 horns, kings or kingdoms, having besides a secular power and temporal authority, an ecclesiastical and spiritual one, a power not only over the bodies and estates of men, but over their souls and consciences, and even over other horns and kingdoms, which they had not over one another, and was so different from them all. And he shall subdue 3 kings, designed by the 3 horns plucked up by the roots, which did fall before him. We covered the 3 horns in my last study, and historically there were 3 kingdoms, 3 horns, that were defeated by the French kings, and then those kingdoms were handed over to the papacy. The Pope of Rome then became Lord and Master of those 3 kingdoms.